Welcome to the Explainer. We all do it. We grab our keys, say a quick goodbye to our dog, and head out the door for a few hours. But what if I told you that in those moments, you might be overlooking something that could put their life at risk? Today, we're breaking down the absolute must-do steps before you leave your dog alone, all based on what the experts say.
So let's start with the one question every single one of us dog owners should be asking. You're walking out the door, you assume everything's going to be fine, but let's be honest, is your dog really safe? And this right here is the heart of the issue. It's that simple, totally normal assumption that your dog will be okay. That assumption is the biggest risk you can take, because those little things you might overlook, well, they can spiral into big problems when there's no one around to help. In fact, get this, a staggering 90% of owners, that's almost all of us, overlook one crucial element. And that one thing can be the difference between a happy, calm dog and a really dangerous situation. Okay, let's dive in and break down exactly what that is. All right, our first pillar is all about your dog's physical world. And look, this goes way beyond just locking the front door. It starts with the absolute basics, the things we take them for granted. So before you leave, you gotta get into the habit of a quick safety scan. Just think about it. Your dog depends on you for literally everything. If their water bowl is empty, they can't just go refill it. And they don't see the world like we do. To them, an electrical cord is a chew toy. A grape on the floor is a snack. This scan takes just a few seconds, but it can absolutely prevent a disaster. Now, this is something that is so easy to forget. How we experience the world is completely different from how our dogs do. A room that feels just, a little warm to you, for a dog wearing a permanent fur coat, that same room can become dangerously hot over a few hours. Heat stroke isn't instant, it's a slow burn. And once you're gone, your dog is trapped. They can't turn on a fan or open a window, they just have to endure it. Okay, so that's the physical stuff, but a safe environment is really only half the battle. Let's move on to pillar 2, because managing your dog's psychological state, their inner world, is just as crucial. So many of us see destructive chewing or barking and think our dog is just being bad, but it's not bad behavior. Separation anxiety is a genuine panic response. It's like a panic attack for your dog. They feel uncertain, maybe even abandoned, and their body just reacts. We're talking stress hormones, a racing heart. It's a real physiological response to fear. And these are the signs you really need to look for. It's often so much more than just a little whining at the door. Pacing back and forth, chewing up the furniture, or even hurting themselves, these are all signs of deep distress. They're not being naughty, they're sending out an SOS. Recognizing these as a cry for help is the first, most important step. So what do? The key is to make their environment less like a silent, empty space and more like a calm, consistent one. Leaving a TV on low or some quiet music can make the house feel less, abandoned. Giving them a puzzle toy gives their brain a job, and it's a great distraction from any anxiety. It's all about making alone time feel like a normal, predictable part of their day. And that brings us to our third and final pillar, the tools and routines that help you get ahead of the problem. This is where you shift from just reacting to being proactive, and this is how you really build your dog's confidence. Most of us just leave and hope our dog curls up for a nice long nap, but that's just a guess, right? A simple pet camera isn't about spying, it's about replacing that guesswork with real information. You can actually see if your dog is pacing anxiously for hours, and that knowledge, it's power. It lets you make changes based on reality, not just hope. And this, right here, might be the single most powerful tool you have, a routine. Dogs don't just like patterns, they thrive on them. This simple 4-step process teaches your dog that when you leave, it's predictable, it's calm, and most importantly, it's temporary. You burn off their energy, make sure they're comfortable, give their brain a task, and then leave calmly. When you take away the uncertainty, you take away most of the anxiety. So how do we tie all of this together? How do we make sure this isn't just something you think about once in a while, but something that actually becomes a natural part of your life with your dog? Here's the big takeaway. This isn't about some long, complicated checklist that you have to stress over. It's about building small, consistent habits. Because over time, those little habits completely remove the fear of the unknown for your dog. And that consistency is what creates a calm, confident, and truly safe best friend. So I'll leave you with this final thought. After everything we've talked about, what's the one simple change you're going to make the next time you walk out that door?
Because that one change is what will ensure your dog isn't just waiting for you, but that they're truly safe and calm until you get home.